Hi, this is Dan Sullivan. I'd like to welcome you to the Multiplier Mindset Podcast. One of the big shifts that's happened during the course of my lifetime as an entrepreneur is the huge, dramatic, what I would say, change in what people are willing to pay for in the marketplace. There is one thing that people want to pay as little as possible, and there's something that people will pay almost any amount of money for in the marketplace. So it all depends. Are you in the business of getting paid as little as possible, or do you want to be in the business where you get paid as much as possible? I'm not saying automatically which one you're going to choose, because there's some mighty corporations in the world like Walmart who actually have based their entire business model on being paid as little as possible and always charging less than anyone else. So it all depends upon what your business strategy is. I should say this, that if you intend to take the strategy that Walmart is taking, then you better be as big as Walmart, because you need amazing size and market control to actually pull this off. So not to keep you in the dark too much more, I'm just going to say that the difference is of getting paid as little as possible is that what you are offering in the marketplace is a transaction. And a transaction is people pay you and they essentially get what they wanted to get, and they don't get anything more. You walk into a supermarket, you're looking for transactions because you have a list, a grocery list, and you want to pay for it, and you don't want to have any education around it. You don't want to have any commentary around it. You don't want any extra effort around it. You just want what's on your list, and you want to pay for it, and you'd like to pay as little as possible, and you'd like to get in and out as quickly as possible. And that really is what transactions are. And guess what? The vast majority of the economy worldwide on a daily basis involving 7 billion people is mostly transactions. Nothing wrong with them. And the vast majority of entrepreneurs, if you're going to learn a new business and you're going to become good in the marketplace, you have to essentially go through the school of transactions. So what happens to entrepreneurs after you've become trained in the transactional world and you really have some dreams about yourself of creating greater value than the rest of your industry does, then you have to make a switch into what I call the transformation economy. Vast majority of entrepreneurs, everybody else who works for entrepreneurs, corporations, people who work for corporations, virtually the entire economy is mostly in the transaction business. But there are a growing number of businesses which started off as transaction businesses, which move into another entirely new economy, which is called the transformation business. And I'll give you an example that everyone knows, and that's Starbucks. Okay, so here's Starbucks. Well, what are they offering? They're offering coffee, and coffee's coffee. They come from beans, and most people really don't know the difference between beans. They combine it with water, and water's water, beans are beans, and they put it in a cup, and so does everybody else. So they're doing all the things that a transaction business is doing, but they've added something else, because whereas other people for a cup of coffee can get $1, Starbucks will charge you $5, and people love the experience. And that puts the focus on what has been added that made a transaction into a transformation was a particular type of experience. You enter into the world where people will pay 3 times more, 4 times more, 5 times more for what is just essentially a transaction commodity, but something has been added to the transaction that takes it into a world where people feel differently about themselves as a result of the purchase. That's the beautiful thing. I admire enormously what Howard Schultz has done at Starbucks, because he created a culture. And they sell you on this culture. For people who are in the market for feeling really great about themselves from the habit of drinking coffee, Starbucks provides this special community that you belong to, and you like being seen with Starbucks coffee as opposed to some regular store brand. If you go to McDonald's, you're going to get a transaction coffee. If you go to Starbucks, you're going to get a transformation coffee. People say, well, there's no difference. And I said, It's not true. It's not true. There's an enormous difference because the Starbucks consumer, and I think also the people who work at Starbucks feel higher status because of what they're doing, and people are totally willing at a certain point when they have disposable income that they will actually pay a lot more to have a special experience that gives them a special status in the eyes of other people. There are people who will forego breakfast. They only have so much money to eat, and they've done surveys in this, and they find that there are a lot of people who won't eat breakfast to save up the money to actually go to Starbucks. They don't have a lot of money at all, but that status of being a Starbucks drinker in relationship to everybody they know and being seen with a Starbucks cup confers a special status and tells them that they're plugged into a special community, into a special culture. So one of the things you have to consider as an entrepreneur is if you're going to be in the transaction business, then be really, really big. You want to be on the major stock exchanges and you're the chief executive officer. But if you don't want to do that, then you should go in the other direction and you should become a special experience for your clients and customers, create a special community. And that's the way we've gone with Strategic Coach. We're the top coaching organization in the world for truly talented, successful entrepreneurs who are seeking to grow 10 times. Well, right off the bat, that's a very, very small number of entrepreneurs on the planet. And if you're one of those individuals, this is where you want to come, because we're going to create a community where everybody in the room has this special vision about themselves, not just for the next 2 or 3 years, but for a quarter century. And you learn things in Strategic Coach. What I'm saying here is that I'm a coach of entrepreneurs, and I really want entrepreneurs to get very clear very early and then stick with whether you're going to be in the transaction business, which requires that you be a public corporation and very big, or you're going to be in the transformation business, which means that you put all your emphasis on wrapping very special experiences in a very special community and very, very special treatment of your clients and customers when they come. You can be extraordinarily successful in the transaction business if you're big. You can be extraordinarily successful in the transformation business if you constantly create a very, very special status for all your clients and customers. Anywhere in between, you're in trouble.